Yo fellas, how we doing? Hope we're doing good. Boys, I thought I need to make a video on this because I've been looking at the UFC schedule recently, and obviously we know about the upcoming tragedy that is this fight night, this weekend, Gamrot versus Salkilld. Don't get me wrong, amazing main event, and I'm looking forward to the main event. I'm a Quillen Salkilld fan. I know Gamrot can be boring at times, but he's been in some good fights. It's a sick main event. Look at the utter shit that's on this card. Alright boys, look at that. Diego Ferreira and Billy Quarantino are in a co-main event of a fight night. Quarantino hasn't fought in literally nearly 2 years, and when he did, he got knocked out cold by Cobb Swanson. Both of them are on 2-fight losing streaks, and that's a co-main event of a fight night. Boys, it's bad. I'm going to go through not just this card, obviously the tragedy that everyone knows about, that is UFC 330. Even this week, this card, Hernandez versus Rodriguez, is poop. It's a weak main event. I'm a Fluffy Hernandez fan, but it's a weak main event, and the rest of the card's pretty dog shit. I like this main event though. Obviously, I like Song versus Umar. That's a great main event for a fight night. I like them China cards. Them China cards usually end up being really good. But like even this, Dan Hooker versus Damian Panas, it's a weak main event. Dan Hooker's on a 2-fight losing streak. I know Damian Panas, he's a big name outside the UFC. He's probably one of the best fighters outside the UFC, and we know how good he is. But like as a main event, really? Obviously, Yair Rodriguez versus Gene Silva got announced yesterday. We've known about that for about a week or so now, but that's a sick main event. And this whole UFC Noche card is looking pretty good. Like, probably one of the best fight nights of the year. The UFC Noche card is what a fight night should be. You got, look, on this card, you've got a sick main event in Yair Rodriguez versus Gene Silva. You've got another high-ranked matchup, heavyweights, Waldo versus Curtis Blades. You got, I mean, actually, this is a very stacked fight night. I mean, this is like a top tier fight night. I'm not saying every fight night has to be like this, but got another #1 contenders fight on, not #1 contenders fight. You know what I mean? #2 versus #3 Grosser, which is pretty good fight for women's MMA. Brandon Moreno obviously on the card. Weird matchmaking him versus Jose Morales, but then again, it's Brandon Moreno. It's on a UFC Noche card. What else you expect? David Martinez versus Danny Ige. That's a banger. Ignacio Jesus, sorry boys. Ignacio Bahamondes on the card. He's always fun to watch. Tim Elliott versus Edgar Chairez. That's a good fight. Belga Ruiz on the card. You know what I mean? This is a good card. But like the next 3-4 weeks, the next 3 weeks especially, and then add the Hooker and Panas card, because I've seen the rest of the card as well. It's shit. I don't think there's a single ranked matchup other than the main event, and there's some really weird matchmaking on there. Like some really poor matchmaking. But then the next 3 weeks are shit. Really bad. I will give my predictions for the main event for Gamrot versus Salkilld here towards the end of the video. So stay tuned for that. Because I'm really looking forward to it. Like I said at the start of the video, it is a very good main event. But my thing is, this could have easily been put on 330. You could have easily moved this fight and just cancelled this weekend's card. Cancelled it. Just there's no need to have it. And move that main event of Gamrot versus Salkilld onto 330. But I don't understand what's going on. It seems like in the last few months, from was it April maybe to the last couple of weeks, we've been in a bit of a golden age of the UFC. I mean, April we had UFC 327 banger. In May we had that JDM versus Prates fight night in Australia. That was amazing. And then they also had UFC 328. That was amazing. In June, you had that insane Apex card with Bilal Mahad versus Bonfim. That was a sick fight night card with Bryce Mitchell on there, whatnot. Then you had the White House cards. Then you had UFC 329, and obviously the DDP versus Usman cards. And now we've got this. Like the Serbia card last week. Don't get me wrong, the Serbia card turned out to be absolutely amazing. But on paper, it was weak. It was a weak fight night. It was a weak main event. But I mean, again, like I said, all these fight nights, you know, this one, 330, and Hernandez versus Rodriguez could turn out to be generational, right? We could see another like Belgrade situation over here. But either way, you know, going into these fight nights, I should be more excited than I am. I'm not. Like, look at this, Darren Elkins on the main card. Oh, really? In 2026, got Darren Elkins as the feature fight on a fight night. I mean, Ty Miller's back. That's cool. It's cool to see. I like Ty Miller's up and coming prospect. He's undefeated. Hasn't fought since like January, but it'll be cool to watch him. Stephen Asplund, that's cool to watch, but he's on the prelims. Why isn't Stephen Asplund on the main event? You know, he's a bigger name than a lot of these lot. You know, especially after that debut he had last year. He's got a bit of a fan base. Stick him on the main card. Why is Darren Elkins there? What's the point of that? Louis Sutherland's back. Like, I'm not being funny. The prelims are actually better than the main event. Sorry, the main card. Sorry. Like, the prelims are pretty decent compared to the main card. Like, Stephen Aspelund, I'm always excited to see him fight. Louis Sutherland, it's just a bit of a meme. But the guy Louis Sutherland's fighting is like, why? They've brought him in. He's like off the regional scene in Brazil. He's 6-1, I believe, but he's just fought absolute cans. There's no need to bring this guy in, Jose Montana da Silva. Like, there's no reason to bring this fella in. No, there's no reason at all. Like, you could have just given Louis Sutherland one of the unranked heavyweights that we have. Like, what's the point? Because the more people we bring in, like this guy, like Jose Montana, the more shitty fight nights we have to have like this, because these guys, they're tied down to contracts, and they might have 2-3 fights in the UFC and then get cut, but we have to keep these guys in, and we have to have shitty fight nights in the Apex like this. Like, it's my problem with the Apex. It's like, it's a home for these fighters who just like bottom of the barrel stuff. Like, there's no reason for these guys to be in the UFC. We could have less fighters in the UFC and then have every week be somewhat entertaining, you know? Like I said, this fight night could turn out to be amazing. We could see a finish in every single fight, and obviously the main event's amazing. But like, you know, you don't, from a UFC card, you don't just want an amazing main event. You want the rest of the cards, you know, to be looking forward to it, you know. And that's what the UFC has done so much better than boxing over recent years. You know, you talk about all these big boxing fights recently. There has been a lot of big boxing fights, big names, especially in heavyweight, but even in the lower weight divisions. Like, on boxing cards, you've got a very high-profile main event. You know, two world champions or whatnot, or 2 ex-world champions, big names, and then the rest of the card just filled with shit. The rest of the card just filled with like 2-0 prospects versus 60-year-old journeyman. You know, and that's why boxing cards are shit. Like, I watch boxing cards. I watch a decent amount of boxing. I'm not like a hardcore boxing fan. I'm a bit of a casual, but I watch my boxing here and there. But like, it's like the boxing cards are weak, and that's why the UFC's done so much better, because the UFC stack their cards from top to bottom. You know, when you tune into a UFC card, you're thinking, oh look, there's 2 up and coming prospects in the prelims. Oh, there's got a fan favorite at the start of the main card. You got, a couple ranked matchups. On the main card, maybe a title eliminator, and then you've got a sick main event, and that's why the UFC has been outdoing boxing for the last few years now, because the UFC style, like the way they style their cards, that means they're entertaining throughout. People have got something to look forward to throughout their, like, they're watching it, their viewing of the card, and like, this is shit. 330 is an absolute disgrace. Like, I don't think I'd say too much about it. I think every content creator on every social media platform who talks about MMA has already gone into this. It's an absolute disgrace. It's disgusting how bad this is. Now, don't get me wrong, there's a couple sleeper fights. Jalen Turner versus Kuri Fernandez, that's a cool fight. Hasn't Jeff Neal pulled out? As in Joe Alvarez. I think Joe Alvarez has come in for this fight. So I guess Joe Alvarez is he's a cool fighter, I guess. Esteban Ribovic can be entertaining sometimes. But like, these guys should be nowhere near a main card on a pay-per-view. Nowhere near. This is like Mansour Abdul Malik versus Dustin Sulfus as a featured fight on a pay-per-view. Are you joking? Oi, Dana, what the fuck is this? This is disgusting. Amazing main event. Islam Makhachev versus Ian Gary. Amazing main event. I'm very excited for this fight. One of the best pay-per-view main events we've had all year, and probably the best one we're gonna get all year. I think this fight could easily go either way. I'll do a breakdown of it next week. I'll do a breakdown of the whole card next week that I'm not looking forward to, but I'll do it next week. Stay tuned for that. But amazing main event, and like, people complain about the co-main event. It's like, this is relatively interesting for women's MMA. Neither of these two are particularly boring. Like, at the end of the day, like, that's not what bothers me the most. Having a women's title fight as a co-main, we've had that plenty of times in loads of cards. All right, that's not what really bothers me. It's the rest of the card that pisses me off. They're missing a few fights here. This is the thing about the UFC website. They don't update and show the actual card until like 2 or 3 days before the event. They've started doing that recently. It's really lazy. But I know Charles Johnson versus Jose Cho is meant to be on this card, but I think that's on the early prelims. It's like, that's probably one of the better fights on the whole card. And instead, we've got Old Man Barboza versus Esteban Ribovic on the main card of a pay-per-view. Like, Edson Barboza versus Esteban Ribovic should be on the early prelims of a pay-per-view. If that's something like what? I don't understand. It's a disgrace. The numbered event should be the best card of the month. It should be the best card of the month. It's the numbered event. I know it's not pay-per-view style anymore because obviously Paramount took over, but that was the pay-per-view of the month. People were, before the Paramount thing, people in America and Canada and all them countries that pay pay-per-view were paying like 70, 80 quid for this. 70 or 80 quid for this shit. Like, I don't understand. And I don't understand why this laziness has come from, because the numbered events we've had recently, like I said, UFC 327, 328, 329, White House card, have all been stacked. They've all been amazing. I mean, yeah, and then before that we had UFC 326, which is just dog shit as well. But this is worse than 326. So at least with 326, you had a few ranked matchups. You know, you had Derrida Baralho and Raul Rosas Jr. versus somebody in the rankings. Was it Rob Font, Drew Dober? You know, you had a few ranked matchups that were a little bit interesting. Like, this is crap. You don't have a single ranked fighter other than the main and the co-main. Like, what the fuck? Trayshawn Gore, Chidi Nkantuani, Dante Johnson versus Eric McConaughey. These like, and this fight got moved. Dante Johnson versus Eric McConaughey got moved specifically to be on this card. This was meant to be on the Apex. I think, was it this weekend or an Apex card sometime soon? And it specifically got moved to this card. Why? Why? Is there not any better fights we could have got? Like, I mean, you've got a sick main event in Gamrot versus Salkilld. Two very well-known fighters. Quillen Salkild's he's a fan's favourite fighter. You know, both of them coming off wins. You thought, oh, yeah, let's stick that on in the Apex. Yeah. Great Apex main event. Great. Fucking Eric McConaughey oh my god, on a fucking pay-per-view. What the fuck? I mean, no offense to any of these fighters, because obviously this is a great opportunity for like these fights. Obviously they're going to get a bigger stage. Their name's going to be under the spotlight more, because these guys are usually stuck on the early prelims of the Apex. So cool. It's cool for these guys to be on a numbered event in a big arena, but like, what for the fans? What the fuck? You know? I don't understand. And then you look at this, Hernandez versus Rodriguez. It's a bit of a weak main event. I like Fluffy Hernandez. You know? But Gregory Rodriguez versus Fluffy Hernandez is not a main event for a crowded fight night. An Apex fight night main event? Maybe. But, I mean, honestly, you put this as a co-main event of a crowded fight night and have a better main event. I'm not complaining at all. But, like, even the rest of this card's just poor. You got Shamil back. That's alright. Again, really? Kennedy and Chukwu versus Shamil Gaziev on a main event of a crowded fight night. I mean, really? Carly Judice versus Jesla Chavez? Really? On a main card of a crowded fight night. Randy Derrida versus Roman Dolidze. I don't mind this fight. I know Roman Dolidze can be a bit boring in his fight sometimes, but Randy Derrida is somewhat interesting. It's his lightweight debut. He's been in some good fights before. I don't mind this being on the main card of a fight night, but Sergey Spivak versus Vitor Petrino. What's this matchmaking? Like, who is Vitor Petrino sleeping with at the UFC to get his opportunities? This guy keeps getting opportunity. I can't speak. This guy keeps getting opportunity after opportunity after opportunity to fight these guys high up, especially when he was in light heavyweight, and now he's in heavyweight. Maybe I'm remembering things wrong. Who is this guy actually beating that's like even close to being top 15 worthy? Who did he fight last? Was it Steven Aspinall, wasn't it? And it was a close fight. He got dropped by Steven Aspinall. It was a close fight. It was 29-28. And that deserves you number 6, Sergey Spivak. I know Sergey Spivak, he's like, you know, he's not a big name, and, you know, he's not the most entertaining, so they're not going to give him, you know, a high-ranked matchup after who did he beat last time? Ante Delija? But, like, really? Like, does Vitor Petrino deserve that? Really? No. But, like, the rest of this card, Wes Schultz versus Jackson McVeigh. Why? This should be on the early prelims of an Apex card. Two guys that literally look like they love yoga and love older women. Wes Schultz and Jackson McVeigh. What? You got the two yoga fellas over here on a crowded fight night. These two should be on the early prelims of the Apex. Like, I know they're both coming off wins, but like, come on. Maybe I'm being a bit harsh now, and they are on the prelims of a fight night. But really, is this it? I know they're missing a couple fights in this card. They're missing Larry and Douglas. I think is meant to be on this card, so that is actually interesting. But from what I saw, he's on the prelims. Well, why? I don't know. I might have saw that wrong. But Larry and Douglas on the if that's right, Larry and Douglas on the prelims Did no one see his debut and his knockout in the Contender Series? Like, the guy's ridiculously powerful. He's entertaining to watch. He's gonna become a fan favorite. Like, I don't understand. We'll get Colin Judice versus Chavez off the main card and put Larry Douglas on it. Mason Jones is on this card as well. I'm a big Mason Jones fan. The guy's fights are so entertaining. And again, the UFC hasn't even updated it to the point where he's on the card. But, like, Mason Jones, why is Colin Judice versus Chavez on the main card? You've got Mason Jones, who's literally every fight is a guaranteed banger. Why is that fight not on the main card? Because I think that's on the prelims as well. Like, the upcoming schedule's weak. Yeah, it's bad. I mean, like I said, I like Umar versus Song. This is pretty much a title elimination bout, especially if Umar wins. If Umar wins, I don't know, I'd like to see O'Malley get the shot versus Peter Yan. If Peter Yan beats Merab in the trilogy fight, I think Yan will beat Merab in the trilogy fight. So then you can run O'Malley versus Yan. But again, if Merab wins, then Umar and him have already fought. It wouldn't be bad for Song Yadong to win, but then I think if Song Yadong does win, Sean O'Malley's going to get the title shot. Because he's got a win over him, literally, what, six months ago? So, I don't know, it's a bit of it's an interesting one for the bantamweight division, for the title picture. I like it, I love it as a main event. They're also going to keep going to China. They've got a real star now in Song Yadong, who's what, the top 5 in the bantamweight division. Had that win over David Figueiredo back in China. What was it, a few months ago? I like them China cards. It's good for UK time as well. So look, 11 AM main card. I'm not complaining about that. Yeah, they're running this fight back. Alex Perez versus Sumudaji. Got a ranked women's fight. I guess I don't mind it. China fight, I guess. But Classic Sakura's on the card. That's cool to see. I'm excited to see how he does at bantamweight. Obviously beat Cameron Smotherman. Yeah, Junior Taffer's on the card. He's always an interesting fight. See how he gets finished or gets a crazy knockout himself. I don't know what else is on this card. Obviously, I don't think there's still lots to build on this card as well. There's only, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fights in this card. So obviously, a lot more going to be added. The UFC probably hasn't updated. There probably is. The card might be complete. The UFC hasn't updated their website because they're so slow at doing it. But I like the China cards. I don't think Song should be as big as underdog as he is here. I think Song Yadong has a really good chance to beat Umar here, stylistically. If I can get back to the main thing, here we go. But we are going to go back to Mateus Gamrot versus Quillan Salkilld. I'm going to give my predictions and breakdown for this fight. I'm going with Quillan Salkilld, and that might be a little bit of bias. Because I'm a big Quillan Salkilld fan. I've just got a feeling. Obviously, this is a really cool clash of styles. Gamrot, very heavy grappler, very pressure heavy grappler, versus Salkilld, who's majority a striker, but he's shown his skills in the grappling department as well. Also had that submission over Jamie Malarkey. I know he's not amazing, Jamie Malarkey, but shows he's got skills on the ground as well. And also he had great takedown defense in his last fight versus Beneil Dariush. Beneil was trying to take him down for 3 minutes up against the cage. Couldn't do anything. Spun him and then got the TKO over Beneil Dariush. And Beneil Dariush is a good grappler. He's a very good grappler. He's strong. He's and he's not as good a grappler as Gamrot maybe, but Beneil Dariush is good. And I think if you can not let Dariush take you down while you're up against the cage for 3 minutes and Dariush is around your hips, that's impressive. And this is a 5-rounder as well. And this is where I prefer Salkilld. I prefer Salkilld over a 5-rounder. I think this fight, I don't think this fight will go to distance. I think Salkild's going to get a finish late on. And what I think will happen, I think Gamrot will get his grappling going early. And I think Salkilld, I think it'll be a boring couple rounds. I think Salkilld maybe getting held against the cage for a couple rounds. He might get taken down, up and down, land a few strikes, maybe in the clinch. And it'll be a boring first couple rounds. I think that the longer this fight goes on, it suits Quillan Salkilld. I think Gamrot's going to try and get a submission early. I think if Gamrot does not get a submission and actually take advantage of his grappling dominance that I think he's going to have in the first 2 or 3 rounds, if he doesn't get a submission, I think this is going to end badly. I think he's going to get finished here in the later rounds. Salkild's going to look pretty big next to him. Salkild's big for lightweight. What's he, 6'1"? It'd be nice if I can open this tab for the fighters to get some stats up and get reminders of some shit, but Again, UFC website. Well on, lads. Amazing website once again. But Salkild's big. He's gonna be bigger than Gamrot, and Gamrot's not small. He's not small lightweight, but Salkild's closer to someone maybe like Dan Hooker's size, and Dan Hooker looked pretty big next to Gamrot when they were fighting. And obviously Salkild's much better on the feet compared to Gamrot. He's got more weapons on the feet compared to Gamrot. Gamrot has been improving on the feet. I mean, you can see that he didn't look horrible again on the feet against Charles Oliveira. I mean, obviously he was getting clipped quite a lot, and his footwork isn't the best. He does kind of just like he crosses his feet quite a lot and can get hit off balance because of it, like he did in the Dan Hooker fight. But he's getting better on the feet, Gamrot. He's not bad on the feet at all now. And also when you're better on the feet, it makes his takedowns. He can disguise his takedowns better because of it. But I think Salkilld, I really like his takedown defense. I think that takedown defense he showed against Dariush is more impressive than people gave him it. Oh, sorry, is more impressive than people. What's the word? Than people thought it was. I think Dariush is a very grappler. He's been showing it's hard to get him off you, and he did that very well. And then when he had him hurt, he did a nice reverse and finished him with ground and pound. That was very impressive to me. Gamrot, I've got nothing against Gamrot. I just think over a 5-rounder, Salkilld, I think, will tire him out. I can see Gamrot holding on to a lot of takedowns. His arms tiring out. Holding on to takedowns for that long tires your arms out. And I can see Salkilld breaking free at some point, maybe in the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th, just like he did against Dariush, and just putting it on Gamrot and Gamrot breaking. I can see that. Gamrot, he's been looking good recently. Obviously, that last fight against Eslan Ribovic completely made mincemeat of him. I mean, that fight should never have happened. I don't know. Ribovic was coming off a win against who? Was it McKinney or Zellhuber or one of them two? I might be wrong. But and then gets Gamrot, who's like top 10, who's been in the top 10 for like fucking forever. And Gamrot makes easy work of him. Completely ragdolls him for 2 rounds, gets a submission in round 2. But yeah, and when they were on the feet, I know they were on the feet for long in that fight when he versus Ribovic, Gamrot, but he looked comfortable on the feet, and Ribovic is obviously a lot better on the feet compared to Gamrot. And Gamrot didn't look out of place one bit. And Ribovic couldn't land anything clean on him. But I think the rangier strikes of Salkilld, and I think he's going to cause Gamrot problems, just like he did against Dan Hooker. He was getting, as he was running away, he was getting clipped with these long leaping hooks. Salkild's, he throws punches like that sometimes, and I can see Gamrot getting clipped. Salkild's a lot cleaner with his striking than Dan Hooker. He's a little bit more sharper, but he does, like I said, throw them long leaping shots, and I can see him catching Gamrot as Gamrot's escaping from the clinch or trying to run away, because like I said, Gamrot's footwork isn't the best. He sometimes crosses his feet when he gets hurt, or when he's trying to pivot out, or just step to the side, or getting away from his opponent. He does cross his feet, and I can see him getting caught, getting hurt, and maybe getting dropped and finished later on in the fight after he fails a takedown or something. I think I could be wrong, and this could be just a complete domination from Gamrot. Ragdolls Salkilld for 5 rounds, because Gamrot is a very high level wrestler, but I don't think that's going to happen. You never know. There's Gamrot. He has close fights with guys like Ludovic Klein, whatnot, and then has high and has great performances. Yeah, I don't even know what I'm saying, but yeah, I'm going with Quinton Salkilld in this fight. I think Quinton Salkild's going to get done by TKO in the 4th or 5th round. I can just see it, and then he's in the top 10, and then you can give some really exciting matchups after that. Lightweight division stacked, and I'm excited to see where Quinton Salkilld can go. I think even if Gamrot loses, he can bounce back. Gamrot's very good. He beats anyone outside the top 10 with ease. So, who's not a great prospect like Quinton Salkilld. I think Salkild's going to get. I think Salkild's going to get this one done, boys. By TKO. Yeah. I've had my little rant, boys. I had a little rant. It is poor, the schedule. I gave my prediction for Salkilld versus Gamrot. And I'll see you in the next one, boys. Peace.